first, your big story breakdown.
Management style is empowering people. And as I said in my opening statement, I want to protect the homeland. I want to bring peace of mind. And I want to bring confidence back to the agency.
In tonight's big story breakdown, we're taking a look at Senator Markwayne Mullin's confirmation hearing. Mullin appeared on Capitol Hill to take questions from senators about how he would lead the Department of Homeland Security. Now Secretary Kristi Noem has been let go, effective at the end of this month. Fox 25 national reporter Christine Frizzell tells us it was a hearing which saw both praise and criticism from both sides of the aisle.
The man handpicked to lead an agency dealing with multiple challenges faced lawmakers on Capitol Hill and laid out his top goals if confirmed as the Secretary of Homeland Security.
My goal in 6 months is that we're not in the lead story every single day. My goal is for people to understand we're out there, we're protecting them, and we're working with them.
President Trump dismissing current DHS Secretary Kristi Noem after months of turmoil in her agency that included the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens at the hands of federal agents in Minnesota, criticisms from blue and red states about federal disaster response, and Noem's overall priorities. Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin grilled by lawmakers about how he'd do things differently.
What Secretary Noem did was give the green light to lawless behavior. Are you going to give the green light to lawless behavior?
I will operate within the parameters and the policies and the laws that you guys set for me.
Mullins did acknowledge he'd made a mistake in his initial comments on the killing of Minnesota protester Alex Preddy by federal agents.
You, sir, you called Alex Preddy, quote, a deranged individual that came in to cause max damage.
I went out there too fast. I was responding immediately without the facts. That's my fault. That won't happen as Secretary.
One of the most fiery exchanges came from the committee chairman, Republican Rand Paul, who admonished him for threatening a witness during a 2023 hearing.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
And for saying he understood why Rand Paul was brutally attacked.
Tell the world why you believe I deserve to be assaulted from behind, have 6 ribs broken and a damaged lung. Tell me to my face why you think I deserved it. And while you're at it, explain to the American public why they should trust a man with anger issues.
Chairman Paul says he's a no vote on Mullin, which means he'll have to get support from at least one Democrat to move forward. Secretary Kristi Noem is set to leave office on March 31st. If confirmed, Mullin would be chosen to lead an agency that for now remains unfunded, as Democrats insist some changes to immigration and customs enforcement are needed first. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
At the beginning of the hearing, GOP Senator Rand Paul pushed Mullin on their tense relationship, asking how someone who supported political violence could lead an agency. And Mullin pushed back, saying he's the right person to lead DHS because he won't hold back.
You told the media that I was a freaking snake and that you completely understood why I had been assaulted. I was shocked that you would justify and celebrate this violent assault. That caused me so much pain and my family so much pain. If someone who applauds violence against their political opponents is the right person to lead an agency that has struggled to accept limits to the proper use of force.
I have to address the remarks the chairman made, calling me a liar. Sir, I think everybody in this room knows that I'm very blunt and direct to the point. And if I have something to say, I'll say it directly to your face. And I got proof to say that because you have spent millions of dollars in my campaigns against me because we just don't get along. However, sir, that doesn't keep me at all from doing my job. I can have different opinions with everybody in this room, but as Secretary of Homeland, I'll be protecting everybody, including Kentucky, as much as I will my own backyard in Oklahoma. It's bigger than the partisan bickering that we have. It's bigger than the political differences we have. The truth is, I have a job to do, and I don't like to fail at anything at all. So I can set it aside if you're willing to set it aside. Let me earn your respect. Let me earn the job. I won't fail you.
Senator Paul also brought up the tense moment during a Senate hearing where Mullin challenged Teamsters President Sean O'Brien to a fight. Paul showed the interaction and questioned Mullin about whether this moment sets a good example.
You know where to find me, any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sorry, Eric, sit down. Look at you. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay. Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr. Chairman?
Hold it.
So no regrets. In fact, even after your anger had cooled, you were still bragging that if he'd only been brave enough to stand up, you'd have jumped over the dais and taught him a lesson, because that's how men should settle their differences. Do you think fighting as a resolution for political differences is a good example for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol?
As you can notice over my shoulder here is my good friend Sean O'Brien. Both of us have had conversations. Both of us have shaken hands. And both of us agreed we could have done things different. Sean is someone that has become a close friend. We talk all the time. I've been on his podcast. We've talked through this. That's how you handle your differences. Not like this, Chairman.
Senator James Lankford introduced Markwayne Mullin during his hearing today, saying he's not afraid to do the work. Mullin served alongside Lankford in the Senate since 2023, previously served in the U.S. House of Representatives for 10 years. Lankford said he first got to know Mullin while touring tornado damage at an elementary school in Moore.
We turned around to be able to look for Markwayne, and for a minute we couldn't find him because in one of the debris piles there was water shooting out of the middle of it, and his plumber instinct said, I got to go find that and figure out how to solve that. And so while everyone else was shaking hands and meeting people, he was digging through the debris field to find a way to be able to shut off the water that was shooting through the middle of that destroyed elementary school. And I remember smiling and thinking, he's a guy that doesn't mind getting his hands dirty to actually go solve the problem. Where there's a problem he can solve, he's going to do whatever it takes to actually solve it.
During the hearing, Lankford says Mullin represents the true Oklahoma standard and fully supports him as Secretary of DHS. Now, a big focus for lawmakers during today's hearing was FEMA funding. Mullin says the agency should be restructured but not eliminated. The agency, which is under DHS, has been in the Trump administration's crosshairs. Last year, President Trump and Noem suggested the agency should be eliminated. Among Noem's changes at FEMA was her policy of personally reviewing expenses of more than $100,000, which led to billions in agency funding being held up. When asked by Senator Andy Kim, Mullin said he would commit to eliminating the policy, but did not give an answer to ending staffing cuts.
Senator, I'm not trying to play politics, but what's been the biggest disaster is not funding them 3 times in a year. However, you know, some of these agencies underneath the current administration, not some, all of them got very bloated with having too many employees.
You think there's still too many staff at FEMA?
Senator, I can't answer that. When I get there, we'll be adequately staffed to respond to our nation's disasters. But it's going to take some time to get there because, like I said, people are quitting today because they're not getting paid for the 3rd time in a year, and we can't allow that to take place.
During his hearing, Mullin also said if he's confirmed, he will make sure to hire a permanent chief to oversee FEMA. Lawmakers also asked Mullin his thoughts about the ongoing DHS shutdown, which has gone without funding since February.
So, Senator Mullin, how do you view Senate Democrats recklessly holding DHS funds hostage at the expense of our national security interests amid threats from Iran and its proxies?
Senator, it's unconscionable. How can you sit there with a straight face and say that we're trying to take care of the American worker when you're choosing to not pay 260,000 people and you're affecting their families? We've heard the stories of families having to stand in charitable lines for basic needs or getting a loan. And like I said, this isn't the first time. We're a month into this. They just came out of a 43-day shutdown that they were probably just recovering from. And yet we're still going to sit there with a straight face and say it's not about politics?
Mullin's comments on DHS funding come as House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries launching a discharge petition aimed at ending the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. Jeffries says the shutdown inconvenienced millions of Americans and forced employees of agencies like the TSA, Coast Guard, and FEMA to work without pay. The petition would force a vote on the House floor if it garners 218 signatures. That means it would need some Republican support. House Speaker Mike Johnson criticized the proposal yesterday.
Discharge petitions are difficult. Some say impossible. But for us, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week.
The discharge petition is really a petition to defund the police. Think of it, the law enforcement agencies that are the part of the Department of Homeland Security are what they are targeting.
The partial government shutdown began last month after Congress failed to reach a deal to fund DHS through September. Lawmakers have been at a standstill as Democrats call for reforms and restrictions related to immigration enforcement. Those calls for change heated up after 2 U.S. citizens were shot dead by immigration enforcement in Minnesota in January. We want to hear from you if you think Senator Mullin's a good choice around DHS. We got a poll up on our Facebook page. You can vote. Right now, results are saying 55% say no, 33% say yes. And that was your big story breakdown. Stay up to date with Mullin's confirmation hearing on OKCFox.com. Plus, you watch all of our previous big story breakdowns on our YouTube page. Scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.